Yeah, well, this
filing suit.
This is kind of the next natural evolution of the conversation on AI with copyright, right? Like, who owns this property? If it sounds like someone's voice, then who's liable if they try to copy that voice?
It's looking like the music industry is about to wage full-out war on AI music, right? So most recently, a lawsuit has been filed against some of the top tier AI music creation companies that are out there. We've talked about them numerous times here on this channel, that being Udio, Suno AI, and there's a couple other companies out there as well. But most recently, with everything that came to light with the Metro Booming BBL Drizzy situation, AI has kind of taken a new identity when it comes to the music industry, because there were some issues even with Metro Boomin being able to clear that sample, trying to figure out who he was going to clear the sample from, because he didn't even create the sample that was used in BBL Drizzy. It was created by another producer who used AI. And then you even have Drake using Tupac's voice and Snoop Dogg's voice for his tailor-made freestyle. So AI is going absolutely crazy. We've got a little bit more information here. I'm going to play this video for you guys, and you can let me know what you think.
A legal firestorm, it's brewing today over this major clash between record companies and AI music services. The Recording Industry Association of America filing copyright infringement lawsuits today against two separate companies, accusing them of training their AI models on copyrighted music without permission, and then spitting out AI-generated music that essentially sounds like other artists. We reached out to both defendants. One company's CEO just got back to us, the CEO of Suno, saying in part this: "We would have been happy to explain this to the corporate record labels that filed this lawsuit," and then in parentheses says, "and in fact, we tried to do so. But instead of entertaining a good faith discussion, they've reverted to their old lawyer-led playbook." I want to bring in NBC business and data correspondent Brian Chung to break this all down for us.
All right, before we hear from Brian Chung, the issue they're having here at the beginning, of course, is when you have these AI models, no matter what it is, it's really difficult if you're going to have it create something new for you to make these AI models without training it on something. You know, we have the AI language models, we have now the AI music models. So a lot of times, some of the legit companies, they will pay an artist for their vocals. They'll have them say certain phrases, they'll have them send them recordings of their vocals, and then they use that to train their AI, and then they can generate music at the end of that. But what they're saying here is that all the information that was used from these paid AI platforms is being taken from artists without their permission. So that's where you get the Drake's ability to be able to make Snoop Dogg and Tupac's voice. Now, we don't know how Drake went about doing that, but that's the issue that the record labels are having.
There's a lot of confusing stuff in all this. I think for those folks that are not necessarily familiar with kind of AI generated music scene, they're saying, okay, wait, what's going on? What are they doing? So walk us through that and kind of why these record labels are so angry about what's happening.
Yeah, well, this
filing suit.
This is kind of the next natural evolution of the conversation on AI with copyright, right? Like, who owns this property? If it sounds like someone's voice, then who's liable if they try to copy that voice? Now, there are two defendants in this in these lawsuits that we're talking about. Suno, as you mentioned, which got back to us here at NBC News. But then the other company is this company known as Uncharted Labs. They have a software known as Udio. And interestingly, this is the software that's behind very prevalent songs. One example being BBL Drizzy. This is a song that was at the center of the spat between Kendrick Lamar and also Drake. So this is technology that is being heard already by millions of people. But we have to remember that what's in the suit right now concerns a lot of the artists that are on these record labels. There are major record labels as part of this suit, and the RIAA, which is basically the association that represents the industry, saying in a statement or in the lawsuit, unlicensed services like Suno and Udio that claim it's fair to copy an artist's life's work and exploit it for their own profit without consent or pay set back the promise of genuinely innovative AI for us all. And
now, if you guys remember, again, we talked about this in the past. UMG, one of the, if not the biggest record label out there, they actually removed all their artists' music from TikTok because there was such a big issue with TikTok and how they wanted to manage their licensing agreement and how TikTok was allowing and using AI on their platform. So UMG removed all of their music. They were going back and forth. They were saying they couldn't figure out a fair deal with TikTok. And then most recently, at the beginning of May, they actually were able to figure out a deal with TikTok, and now they've got their music back on there. But that kind of started the ball rolling with this whole AI situation and where artists stand with their name, image, and likeness being used and being able to be created by these platforms. And now we're here with BBL Drizzy with the tailor-made freestyle, and the music industry seems like they've had enough.
Set back the promise of genuinely innovative AI for us all. And, we have to remember that this type of software is very good. This is not just kind of, a few tunes and few beats being put together. In fact, we actually had asked Udio, this is one of the companies and the softwares at the center of this suit, to generate a response. Take a listen to what they generated.
They got their eyes on you for the tunes you share. Labels coming after like they own the air.
And again, we asked them to generate that. This is not a statement from Udio, but you can see, those lyrics clearly take the side of AI.
Yeah.
Very interesting there.
Yeah. So what are the larger implications of all of this?
Yeah, well, the implications are that it's going to open up a real kind of legal Pandora's box in terms of whether or not it's on the AI companies or on the record labels to prove that they actually have the right to use these voices.
I feel like we kind of went through this iteration, a different iteration of this with kind of the dawn of Napster, right? And the music,
certainly, yeah.
music business.
And in that case, it may have been a little bit more clear cut because they were ripping the actual songs themselves. Right. And, this is a little bit less clear. It might not be the exact same song, but in the legal filings, they did an example of a Michael Bublé song and said, look, this AI actually generated a melody that was virtually identical note for note. And they actually showed.
Well, and also the problem with that is you have their likeness, right? You have the artist's name, image, and likeness. If it sounds like them, then that's where it's going to be an issue. Also, who's to say that these AI companies don't get an artist that sounds similar to a Taylor Swift, to a Drake, and just have them and use their vocals to train their AI systems? That's how I would think there's a way you can find a loophole in this whole situation if you're an AI music company. But again, as they just mentioned, this is a big uncharted territory when it comes to the legal side of AI and what they can actually use to train their programs.
The notation out there.
Wow.
But is that enough if the voice is not Michael Bublé's, right? That's where a court is going to have to decide, a jury or a judge. This is the exact same thing, or it's an artistic representation of something that already exists.
Artistic representation.
We'll see.
Yeah. Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it. That's really fascinating.
Thanks for watching.
All right. So again, y'all have to let me know what you think about that situation. It's tough because if you think of art and maybe art created by humans, if I paint a picture of Drake, well, essentially I'm using Drake's picture. Would I be able to sell that to someone else saying, oh, I painted a picture of Drake? Or do I have to give Drake a piece of that because it was inspired by Drake? Is it going to be the same situation with AI to where they're saying this artist or this sound is inspired by this artist, and maybe we'll give you a certain percentage of it, but we do have the right to create that? We'll have to look into the law a little bit and see what happened. I also want to go back again, as I mentioned, and talk about UMG removing their music from TikTok, because I think this is important in this whole AI conversation.
Top story this afternoon, the world's largest music company has officially started to remove the artists it represents from TikTok, including Taylor Swift.
That's right. Universal Music Group has ended its licensing with the popular social media app. Linda Schmidt is live in the newsroom with the details on this dispute and what happens next. Linda, pretty big deal here.
It is a pretty big deal. And if you're a regular TikToker, you are crying today about this. This is a huge shakeup and a disappointment for you. Your posted videos with music from some of the top artists are now going silent. Universal Music Group, which reps some of the biggest names on the planet, like Taylor Swift and Nicki Minaj, has not been able to reach a new contract deal with TikTok. Now, negotiations fell apart, so now the record label group is pulling the sound from TikTok videos. UMG says TikTok is not paying artists the amount of money that they should be paying them, and the record company is also concerned about protecting artists from the harmful effects of artificial intelligence as well as online safety. Well, TikTok, as you can imagine, hitting back tough today, though, with a statement saying, quote, "It is sad and disappointing that Universal Music Group has put their own greed above the interests of their artists and songwriters. Despite Universal's false narrative and rhetoric, the fact is they have chosen to walk away from the powerful support of a platform with well over 1 billion users that serves as a free promotional and discovery vehicle for their talent."
Yeah, and it's not only for them, but it was for other creators too, right? If you can take Drake's audio and use it on your video, then that gives you a boost in the TikTok algorithm as well. But a lot of the things that weren't addressed in this issue that UMG was having with TikTok is that they were worried about some of the implications that AI would have on their artists, whether that be their artist numbers, their artist likeness being used in certain ways. And that was kind of left out of the media, which I thought was interesting and why we covered it in the past.
But also today, as is the case with most of these types of negotiations, we've done so many stories on these types of things. The two sides could ultimately work out a new deal here, but for now, the music is silent.
Yep, and now, most recently, as I mentioned, in May, UMG is back on board. They signed a new deal, and everything's good with TikTok. But we don't know too much about where they're going with the AI situation. So let's check out this article from XXL talking about what's going on behind the scenes of everything with Drake, Metro Boomin, and this AI situation with BBL Drizzy. So it says AI company behind Metro Boomin's BBL Drizzy Drake diss sued by major record labels and the RIAA. Udio, the AI company behind Metro Boomin's diss track, has been sued by major labels and the RIAA for alleged copyright infringement. All right. Major labels, they sue them. All right. On Monday, June 24th, the Recording Industry Association of America announced they had filed 2 copyright infringement cases against AI music generation services, Suno and Udio. Now, if you guys want to see how Suno works, you can actually go back and watch a video where we actually took the time during a live stream to create a full AI track using Suno AI. It's pretty crazy. I haven't gone too much into Udio. I did use it on one of the other live streams, but Suno's AI is absolutely amazing. Metro Boomin's Drake Distrumental, never heard that term before, BBL Drizzy, was created using Udio's AI tool. Major record labels Sony Music, Warner Records, and Universal Music Group are included as plaintiffs in the lawsuit since Udio and Suno allegedly infringed on copyrighted sound recordings they were copied and exploited without permission. Users rely on programs like Suno and Udio to create AI music during the heated rap battle between Kendrick Lamar and Drake that kicked off this past March. Metro Boomin and Drake had their own beef. The producer capitalized on Rick Ross's insulting nickname for the Toronto MC BBL Drizzy by sampling an already existing AI generated track with the same name. He turned the moment into a contest in which the best verse on the 1970s style soulful production would get $10,000 and a free Metro beat. A runner-up would also receive a free beat. No winner has been announced yet. Also, if you go onto YouTube, you can search and find so many of these Motown style AI beats, and they actually took the lyrics from popular songs. Say they took a lyric from one of Kendrick Lamar's songs, and they took the lyrics and made a full AI song just using the lyrics, which is crazy. Y'all should go look up a couple of them if you haven't yet. The original AI track was created by comedian and AI creator Will King Williness Hatcher. I haven't heard of him, but shout out to Will. The soulful song includes a hook poking fun at Drake allegedly augmented backside. The inspiration for the track name came from Rick Ross, who had his own beef with Drake and insisted that the OVO leader got work done, or work, I think they meant to put done, on his body. AI generated music is a controversial topic in hip hop. Ask several rap fans their opinions on music made using AI, and there is no unanimous response. Again, y'all, I mentioned to y'all that I could see the uses for AI, and I think it's a great tool. But when it comes to using certain artists' image and likeness, I could see where there's issues there. So I think that's where a lot of the imbalance or the lack of a unanimous response comes from. Everyone has differing thoughts. While some people embrace it, like Ghost, who created the controversial Drake and Weeknd AI track Heart on My Sleeve in 2023, others like producer Guru think it's dangerous. This year, Drake used AI voices of Tupac Shakur and Snoop Dogg in his Kendrick Lamar diss Tailor Made Freestyle. Using artificial intelligence is a sign of the changing times, but it's also affecting the livelihood of rappers who create the very music that AI infringes upon. More companies will jump on the AI bandwagon that Suno and Udio have already been riding, and the music industry will continue to fight for its artist rights. I was talking about this earlier, and I think we're at an interesting place when it comes to music and AI music specifically, because you guys have seen pretty much in everything we're doing, even with our phones, with AI being now implemented by Apple Music, with AI being implemented in how we work and how we use our calendars and pretty much everything. You have this major boom in the AI field, and you could you can make an argument and say that AI now is bigger than the music industry currently is, especially when it comes to specific record labels like a UMG. So with that being said, does UMG even have a chance against AI in this fight? I don't know, because it seems like AI is moving forward and it's moving so fast. And if they can show that they haven't not only infringed on their copyright, but they use different methods to train the AI, I could definitely see this going in the favor of AI music, which means it's going to be an uphill battle fight for these record labels. Udio, I think it's pronounced, releases a statement after being sued. A day after the RIAA announced the lawsuits, Udio released a statement on X, formerly known as Twitter. While they didn't address the lawsuit, the company stood on their technology. Today, we'd like to share some thoughts on AI and the future of music. The statement read, in the past 2 years, AI has become a powerful tool for creative expression across many media, from text to images to film and now music. At Udio, our mission is to empower artists of all kinds to create extraordinary music. In our young life as a company, we have sat in the studio of some of the world's greatest musicians, workshopped lyrics with up-and-coming songwriters, and watched as millions of users created extraordinary music ranging from the fun to the profound. Now, this is something that I mentioned earlier. They said they sat in the studio of some of the world's greatest musicians and workshopped lyrics with up-and-coming songwriters. I mentioned some of the ways they could be sourcing a lot of this information is just paying. Say they paid me to make some beats for them. They say, hey, we're trying to make this trap beat AI. Can you just send us a bunch of beats so our AI can study them, see some of the patterns, and then we'll make an AI from there. And then they bring in more people and more people and more people. They do the same thing with songwriters. And this is how they're able to train and build these ridiculous AI models, and it works pretty fast too. Udio acknowledged that Metro Boomin sampled the AI generated track BBL Drizzy. We have heard from a talented musician who, after losing the ability to use his hands, is now making music again. The statement continued. Producers have sampled AI generated tracks to create hit songs like BBL Drizzy, and everyday music lovers have used the technology to express the gamut of human emotions, from love to sorrow to joy. Groundbreaking technologies entail change and uncertainty, which if you have a business like a record label, that's pretty scary. We stand behind our technology and believe that generative AI will become a mainstay of modern society, they added. All right, so Suno offered a statement as well. I'm not going to go too much into that. They're basically saying the same thing. It's like, hey, we went about this the right way. We studied music. We understand it. We brought people in. But you guys have to let me know what you think about this whole AI situation. Does the record label have enough pull to be able to fight this? Do they have enough evidence to show that Suno and Udio used some of their artists to train these models? I think it's going to be a tough battle for them to fight, and honestly, I can see the record labels taking the L on this. Which people, in most cases, they don't want the record labels to win, but in this one, if they lose and AI continues to move forward at this full speed, it could have an effect not only on me, but a lot of you who create music as well. So let me see what y'all are saying in the chat. We got a couple of people that stopped by. Amy is in the building. Shout out to the amazing Amy up in here. It's good to see you in the building. Who else do we have? I said what's up to Wood Drummer. Wood Drummer is in the building as well. Good to see y'all, man. Yeah, y'all have to let me know what you think about this whole AI situation, because to think that at some point AI is just going to be able to create on its own, especially as it gains enough information and it starts to see the patterns that come with music, starts to understand the things that are catchy, it's only going to be a matter of time. And there were some AI platforms out there, and even with Suno and Udio, that actually used AI just on its own and just by showing it patterns of music to make certain types of music, and it was just wasn't good. It was bad. I've heard some pure just AI generated music with no training from outside songwriters or producers, and it's tough. So even with these elite AI platforms, you still need a lot of input from humans. You need to be able to help the AI programs understand and be able to generate certain types of emotions, whether that's using chords, vocal inflections, whatever have you.